Anthony didn't want to come out. He's a twin. And I remember it was a very hard birth. My son, Dre, came out first. But with Anthony, he was breech. And the doctors had to go in and turn him, and they were preparing to do an emergency cesarean. And, I had somebody in the hospital with me that was like, no, he's going to come out in his own time. Just keep pushing. He'll come out. And I remember looking at him, and he was so little. He was just round face, squished little face, the longest eyelashes you could possibly think of. I knew that smile. I've never had a baby born, and I have 10 children altogether. I never seen a baby come out smiling with such a big smile. And anybody that knew Anthony knew that smile and those eyes were like amazing. You can have the worst day. You could have lost somebody. And Anthony coming in with that smile, and they all used to say the same thing. He's so big. And, he looks like he's this big, mean person. But once he opens his mouth, that smile and those eyes, that he's the kindest person. He's a gentle giant. People don't realize that it's those little moments that matter. It wasn't the big things. Like, to some, it may sound like, well, what's so significant about that moment is because it was our moment. He decided to take a route that most other teenagers wouldn't. He dedicated his life to God, and he was like, this is the road I want to take, and I want to show the world. And he got dedicated.
My favorite memory was during Halloween, because he always used to decorate, and him and my mom would take turns when it was her turn to decorate, and then it was his turn, but he liked to dress all spooky, and then we would always do it for him. And he used to take us trick-or-treating and help us pick out our costumes and have ideas for what we did. And now, since he's not here anymore, it's not that much fun for me, because he was a big part of that holiday, and he was a big support to us during that holiday. And he was a loving person that everyone loved. And then I'm gonna miss him because he would always smile when he used to see the spooky decorations, and he used to smile whenever he'd take us trick-or-treating, and I just miss him so much.
He was kind of the encouraging voice. I think that's definitely something that, runs all throughout my household, even now that he's gone. I have a lot of nephews, and raising boys, it's hard. Because there's stuff that, as a mom, you can't instill in them. It's different when you're raising a daughter. You can instill, what you know into them. Raising a boy, it's completely different because you're raising them to be a man. And, with Anthony, he was always the encouraging voice in the background, even for my own 15-year-old son. A lot of stuff that he told him is stuff that, my son, to this day, he lives by. One big thing that he told him was, to always be himself and not to try to be like anyone else, because what fun is that if you're trying to copy someone? Be you, be original, and show them who you are. They took someone so important away from us, and for no reason. Anthony should be here with us today. He should be here with us today, celebrating Christmas, celebrating Halloween, celebrating Easter with my mom. Going to church with my mom and my sister every Easter. He should be here doing that. He should be here to decorate, the scariest haunted driveway on the block, or either the most kid-friendly, because, he did either one. We're here doing it for him because that's all we can do. When we lost him, we didn't want to turn into, activists fighting. We didn't want to turn into, people taking the streets. We didn't want to do that, but we got forced into it because that's all we can do now is fight for Anthony and keep his memory alive and let people know who he was and not what the news is saying. This is something that, I'm terrified that can happen to my son one day. I don't let my son leave the house. He's not allowed to go anywhere unless there's an adult with him, and that's not fair to him because he's afraid to leave the house.
I think Mother's Day is one of the hardest holidays for all of us, because Anthony would go to the flower district and he would go get these big, humongous bouquets of flowers And he would make sure that every mother in our family had them. And every holiday that comes, we've had 2 Mother's Days, and it's like, where's our flowers? We could give them to each other, but it's not the same. Now what we turn to is we take him flowers where he used to give us. And it's hard because something as simple as a flower on our birthdays, my birthday, I always expected Anthony to give me flowers on my birthday. And now it's like my birthday's come, and it's like that morning, I don't even want to get up anymore. It's like, I know he's not here. The pain is getting harder, and the memories are getting harder because time's passing on, and it's another day without him. It's another year without him, and you don't want to accept it. And his chuckle and his laugh and his smile. We won't stop. We can't stop, because Anthony never gave up on any of us, and we're not going to give up on him. No, we need to make sure that in order before he rests, he gets the justice and his name is cleared from what these people are trying to say that it is. We're not going to do that. Anthony wouldn't want that. We're not going to let people think that he was some kind of thug, or he was a robber, or he was this kid that just didn't care about society, when he was the total opposite. That morning when they killed Anthony, why didn't the police department say that he had just came from a healing circle? Why didn't they just say that he had went to help a friend of his? The mother asked him to start a prayer circle because her son had just passed away 3 days before. Why didn't they say that? Because they wanted to believe that he was the suspect in a robbery, because he dressed a certain way or he looked a certain way. They try to say that my son was running. My son couldn't even run without getting a Charlie horse. We remember and we can laugh. But at the same time, we also sit there and weep. We're human. We have our moments, but we pick ourselves up. Because that's what Anthony taught us. No matter what we go through, you pick yourself up. You keep going forward. Let it hurt, but go through it.